Hey guys, it's Eric with Apperkay, and it's Theology Thursday. We're starting a new series coming up this week. I'm sitting outside the gym, so I hope that's cool with you guys. We're starting a new series this week on autumn and all the things that we can observe in nature that are true in our lives. And we're going to back it up with Scripture. We're going to talk about God. It's going to be really cool. I hope it's a blessing to you guys. But going into it, I wanted to talk theology with you, as I do every Thursday, and we're going to talk about Revelation, not the book of Revelation, which I'm sure a lot of you would want me to talk about. It's pretty loud out here. It's awesome. I'm in the thick of it. But I want to talk about revelation from God. So there's two types of revelation from God. There's special revelation and there's general revelation. So why do we have revelation from God? Well, man is finite, right? And God is infinite. So if man is finite and God is infinite, if we're to know anything about God, it's because he's revealed it to us. No one is out there discovering things about God or peeking behind the curtain or whatever. The things that we know about God are things that he has told us, and he's told us through a bunch of different ways. So first, we've got general revelation. General revelation is basically stuff that's available to everyone without God expressly intervening, right? So general revelation. Nature is general revelation, right? So we're talking about autumn, so like the color changing and that kind of stuff. I'm in New England, and the leaves change here, and it's really quite beautiful, and we take it for granted here in New England. But it's really quite beautiful, and we learn about God from nature. We learn about his intelligence. Like, think about the design of a human being or the ecosystem or the universe, right? We learn that God is vastly more intelligent than we ever could be, and he's constantly interacting with those things at all times. We learn that God is beautiful and that God appreciates beauty. Just look around. We learn that God is infinitely complex, right? If the world is as complex as it is, then God must be much more complex. Other types of general revelation. Human beings carry a lot of general revelation just in our nature. The nature of human beings, right? So our conscience, our idea of right and wrong, right? Paul says that even the people who didn't receive the law, the Jews, even the people who didn't receive that, the Gentiles, they have the law of God written on their heart. We all kind of know some things that are right and some things that are wrong. We know it's wrong to go out of our way to hurt people. We know that it's wrong to lie to people. We know that it's wrong to kill people. So those things, we're born knowing those things. So the law of God is written on our conscience, in our hearts, right? So the conscience is a big part of it. And then there's a third one that I don't know how I feel about it exactly. It's history. So history is the unfolding of God's narrative, right? God's meta-narrative for all of humankind and the universe, right? So I think that there's some parts of history that could definitely reveal God. I think the number one, the best, most observable piece of history as revelation would be like the nation of Israel, right? Like, the Jewish people have been around since Abraham. They've been preserved. They've been mostly protected. They have definitely faced dark times, but there's a definite favor upon them from God. So history is another thing that people consider general revelation. Now some special revelation, right? So how about angels, right? So when the shepherds are laying in the field before Jesus is born and the angel comes to them, that's a special revelation. The Apostle Paul says that he had conversations with the resurrected Jesus and he was taken up to the third heaven. That's a special revelation. Miracles are a special revelation, right? They're signs. Jesus performed signs, and those were special revelations. Some of the bigger special revelation, Scripture, right? Scripture is special revelation because it's not just a book. And it's not just intrinsic knowledge that we have. God had to intervene in the human authors to create Scripture. So Scripture is a special revelation. And then the best special revelation of all, Jesus Christ, right? God himself became a human being and walked the earth. And that served as a revelation. That told us more about God than anything else has ever told us, because God was here and God was interactive with us. So I also want to say about revelation in general that it's relational, right? So before Adam and Eve sinned, they were with God all the time. There was a constant fellowship all the time. And after they sinned, they lost that fellowship. And so ever since then, we haven't had that fellowship. And so anytime that God reveals himself to us, he's doing it relationally. He's doing it to connect with us. And Jesus, again, is the best example of that. Jesus came here to show us God, to be God with us, and to love us the way that only God can. So if you don't know Jesus, if that's a revelation that you haven't experienced yet, I pray that you do. It's the greatest, most fulfilling thing you can do, because it's where we meet God. It's where we find out the most about God. So I love you guys. Thanks for having Theology Thursday with me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this new series on autumn and the different things that we can learn. First episode is coming up on Monday. It'll be called Autumn, and it'll be called There's Beauty in the Change, or Beauty in Change. I haven't nailed down exactly what it's going to be yet, but that's it. So we're going to talk about how when change happens, it can be quite beautiful, even though sometimes it doesn't necessarily look beautiful. All right, I love you guys. I hope and pray that you have a wonderful weekend. Go to church, serve in the church, be part of the church, and yeah, we'll see you here on Monday. Okay, take care, guys.